So today I wanted to talk about the CRM portion of our system, the customer relationship management, which is basically how you can interact with your customers on the pre-sale process. Okay, so I'm going to kind of walk through it here. If you guys have any questions, as always, feel free to interrupt by either unmuting yourselves or sending a message. Okay, so now we're going to go into customers here. All right, and we're going to add a new one. Okay, a couple things to keep in mind when you're adding in a customer. You have the different contact types to help you sort different lists. Okay, so that way you can see results on each of the different categories. Okay, you also have the ability to do the found us through. So this allows you to keep track of how they hear about you, so you can look at rate of returns on your different lead sources. Okay, and your different advertising expenditures, things like that. Okay, so then we're gonna add it in. Okay, and then the cell phone. Okay, so when we're putting in the address, okay, we know it searches through Google Maps to be able to get here. Okay, we've also added some new fields here. So we have the lead cost, so you can put a direct cost in this lead to do your rate of return. Okay, you can actually decide whether they're a lead or not if you want to turn on your lead tracking. Okay, so this allows you to do that. And then the pre-qualified financing amount, this lets you know what their limit is, so that way you don't have to, that way you can have it somewhere where its own field instead of having to put it in the notes, things like that. Okay. When you go through, you also have the ability to see the payment term, whether it's due on the 3rd of every month, due on receipt, net 15, net 30, net 60. Okay, this payment term is also going to be based on the contact type that we have here. Okay, that's a change that's going to be coming. So when you automatically select, investor, it automatically pulls up investor terms, because for the most part they tend to be pretty standard. Okay, across different categories. Okay, and save. All right. Any questions as far as adding a customer or any of the specific fields that we have here? Okay. The first thing we have here is interaction. So this used to be called follow-up, but we thought it was very confusing. Okay. So in this next update, you're going to see it called interactions. This is allow you to keep track of your interactions. Okay. So your interactions are going to come in one way, phone call, email, SMS. Okay. The other thing that we're doing right here is we're adding an in-person interaction, whether it's in the home or, in the store. Okay. So we're calling this tab interaction. So you can say, hey, I reached out with a phone call. I was unsuccessful. Okay, I left a voicemail, things like that. So you can keep track of your interactions and know every time you interacted with them, what day and how it was done. Okay, so able to see that. Then we have notes. Okay, so notes allow you to keep track of notes. For the customer, the note type here is category. This is customizable, so you guys can do any of that. Here, so you can add to this list. So we can add new, okay, and you're able to do it. Then we're able to do the subject of the note and then the comments here. Okay, so it might be a couple different types of things here. Okay, this allows you to just keep general notes, whether it's personality, whether it's project notes, things like that. Samples. All right, so you're allowed to check out samples. Okay, so we're going to add a new sample. This is check out new sample. Okay, and you can search by the manufacturer, but you can just start typing in a product here. As soon as you find it, you select it, automatically selects the vendor for you. So you have the status of picked up, so they picked up. Okay, and the date they picked it up on and the date they're supposed to return it. You hit save, hold, you go back, and then you can mark it as returned. Okay, and now they've returned the sample. So that way you have that here. Okay. Any questions as far as checking out samples? Okay. If they don't return the sample, of course, you'll get the reminder up here that says customer sample hasn't been returned. Please follow up. Okay. You also have the ability under reports to run your samples report to be able to see which customers have returned their samples and which ones have not. Okay. So you get an alert. When do you get an alert? You get an alert after the date has passed. Okay, after the return date has passed. That's when you get the alert. Or actually, I think it's on that date because they should be returning it that day, so it gives you the alert. Not after, but on. Okay. All right, no questions. Going back in. All right, tasks. So you go in here and we add a new task, and we have the task type, estimate, follow up. Okay, grab coffee. This list is customizable. Okay, you can have pickup kids be one. If you're a mom and pop shop, you can have, check on salesman, weekly sales meeting. Okay, whatever you need to do. Okay, so now that you have it, okay, you can select multiple people to a task. Okay, and then the start date and start time. If you don't put in an end date and end time, it automatically just that makes it an out. Okay, you can send SMS reminders for that. Now, when I go in here and I select measurement, SMS reminders are automatically enabled for measurement. They're not automatically enabled for follow-up, but they are for the employee, but not to the customer, because you don't want to send a customer a follow-up task, right? Internal meeting, so that way you might send, to your employees and it's about that customer. So you can decide who gets, text for this task type. Okay, and then you can overwrite it if necessary on this specific task. Okay. Then you have the event location, end time, start time. Okay, save. Boom, we overdue. Okay. Now, when you have multiple people assigned to a task, okay, so I'm just going to actually switch it back to coffee, and it's overdue. When you have multiple people assigned to a task, when you go in and mark it complete, it completes it for everybody. Completed. Okay. Emails. So we go here to emails. Every email you send through the system is going to populate here. You can actually CC someone on it if you need to. Subject, hello, nice to meet you. Okay, we're gonna ignore my typing. I'm gonna hit send. Okay, so we don't have a valid email on file, so let me actually edit that. Sorry. Okay. Now when we send an email, compose and send email. Subject, hello. Nice to meet you. Okay. We hit send. We have it. You can see the subject. You can view the email here. Okay, and we'll send. Okay. SMS the same way. So you go here, say SMS. You can say hello. You go through, success, and you hear my phone vibrate. Yes, you can do a task. So the question is, can you do a task that's not under a specific client? Yes. So if you could just go here and say tasks, and you can add a new task and you cannot choose a customer. Okay, but it was automatically defaulting to the customer that it was in because I was under the customer's page. So you can do a task like here, that's not for a customer. You just hit internal meeting. Okay. Your start date and start time and save, and you can see that there's no customer associated with it. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Back. Okay. You're able to send out the SMS. Next is documents. Is there any other questions before I move on? Don't want to leave anybody out. Awesome. Documents. So we're going to upload documents. Okay. And I'm going to select file. And you can upload any picture that you want here. So I can do Floorzap, select it, upload. Now we have Floorzap in here. Okay. We only care about file size. It's got to be under 4 megabytes. We actually compress to make things easier, but we do not care about the file type. Okay. It can be an Excel sheet, a Word document, a PDF. We do not care. Okay. Addresses. So under here, this is especially important with builders, investors. You're able to add in addresses under here for the different job sites. Okay. So if you're thinking like project management companies or property management companies, I'm thinking like if you work for any property management companies that own a bunch of apartment complexes or maybe a bunch of single family homes, you're going to add in the addresses and you're going to do work for them underneath these different addresses. Okay. So you'd be able to do that. If you're more like you're working for a restoration company or a builder where they have different clients underneath it and sub clients, it's actually easier to add the contacts here. And then you'll see you have the ability to add the address in here. Okay. So when I do Mr. Smith, okay, and I just do a simple 123 Main Street address, Houston. Okay. I hit save. I now have an address in here that's under the contact name of Mr. Smith. So we have it in here. So if you're doing more, if it's like a restoration company builder where it's sub clients underneath it, you're going to do it here. If it's the main client, then you're probably just going to add it in straight under addresses. Okay. Does that concept make sense to people? Okay, I'm going to take the silence as a resounding yes. Okay. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Just very simple, those things there as far as interacting with the customers. I'm going to go over the lead board now, which is another kind of customer relationship management. But does anyone have any questions with any of these sections here underneath a specific customer before I go into like overall customer management? You guys about 30 seconds, type up any messages, unmute, things like that. Yes, I can go over measurements at the end. Okay. So going here to lead board. Okay, so the lead board lets you know where everyone is as far as leads. Okay, so you go from lead to contacted lead, measurement, scheduled measurement, completed quote, invoice. Okay, I like to say you can't lie to the system. Everyone is where they are because of what's underneath the customer. So if I am able to go here and say phone call, and I say successful. Okay, you move from lead to contacted lead because you had a successful interaction, which you actually got a hold of the customer. Okay, that's what successful, unsuccessful means, is whether you actually were able to talk to the customer. Okay, then once we schedule a measurement, so we create a measurement task under the customer. Okay, then you're going to go into the measurement scheduled. Okay, once you have square footage associated with the measurement, so when I actually go in here and add new area square footage, we're in this measurement here. Okay, and then we can say 12 by 12 or whatever, and we'll go over this later, Valerie, in more specifics. You hit complete. Oops. We hit complete, we hit save. Okay, we go through and add it. Now it was the status of the measurement was completed on 8/29/22. Okay, then you build a quote. Okay, as soon as you build a quote, and you can create a quote right there off that page, but as soon as you build a quote, hit save. Okay, now you can see that on this lead board, okay, the customer is now in the quote stage because they have a quote associated with it. There's nothing there, no action, no status. Okay, I go here and I SMS the quote. Okay, now when I just refresh the page or reply filter, okay, it says it's sent, and then the status can be approved or rejected here. So you're going to be able to see, it's a great screenshot or snapshot, sorry, of where everybody is. Okay, so now I get the quote on my phone. Okay, and I refresh, and now you're going to see the quote status of rejected and which date it was rejected on. Okay, if it gets approved, on the other hand, so if I go back and I resend it, it was approved. Sorry, it's got to be updated with my rejection. Okay, go in here, send it, and now approving the quote on my phone real quick. Sorry. Gonna approve. I'm gonna refresh the page, and they're already in the invoice stage because the invoice was automatically sent. So it says invoice sent and status sent. So you'll be able to see. Okay. Does anyone have any questions with the lead board in particular? Okay, awesome. So my next thing I want to show is some of the reports. So specifically the lead and referrals report. My favorite is the lead source report. So it shows you the leads and where they're coming in from and how effective you are at closing the leads from each source. You actually have a sales by city report to see your sales by city and how well you've been selling. And then you also have a referral report to see how well each referral is doing for you. Okay. So keep in mind that there's reports down here. You're able to see those lead source referrals. Those are going to show you kind of what's going on as far as the CRM and your leads and where you're getting your leads from and how effective those leads are. Okay. Moving forward. So keep those in mind. You have those reports down there. Also, you might be able to do it by sales rep because you want to see how each sales rep is doing. So sales rep jobs. Oh, that's the commission report. Sorry. Sales rep report to be able to see quote count, invoice count, total sales, things like that. Keep in mind you have those reports, kind of those CRM reports to see your average profit margins and things like that. Okay, hopefully it's not negative 188 on the average profit margin there until it's a testing site. Hopefully you never have a job that's that bad right there. Okay.